Now, I love K-beauty, I truly do, but sometimes stuff just doesn't work out, you know? And so today I thought I'd share a few products that unfortunately I didn't like. And honestly, some of them, I might be the only one because they're very, very popular and very, very hyped. So these are my potentially controversial opinions about a couple of viral K-beauty products that just did not work out for me. In case you don't know me yet, hi, I'm Ulrike. I am a K-beauty and skincare content creator and have written and talked about especially K-beauty since 2015/16, so a long time. And I'm really happy to have you with me on this skincare journey. And let's get into a couple of products that unfortunately did not work for me. Just before I start, a little heads up that I have new neighbors who just moved in and they are renovating the whole place. So you might hear a bit of background noise like hammering and drilling. I tried to cut it out, but my audio setup is very basic. So I just wanted to pre-warn you. Unfortunately, there's not much I could do about that. And the first product that unfortunately did not work for me is one that I did a whole video review on. So you can watch that, where I already made it quite clear that it wasn't a favorite. And it's these toner pads by Numbuzin, which are very popular and also which I now have almost finished. Finally, I'm really struggling to finish them, but I just want to get it done at this point. And these are the Numbuzin Vitamin-Niacinamide concentrated pads. These for me just honestly didn't do anything. These are very hyped at the moment, both in Korea as well as on TikTok, although I think the hype has almost died down again a little bit. For a while, these were everywhere on my FYP, and I was really excited to try them. However, I just felt that they really overpromised and underdelivered. They're supposed to brighten your skin. They're supposed to help with hyperpigmentation. I've seen these intense before and after pictures from creators that said, this is the one thing that got rid of my acne and all my hyperpigmentation. It did pretty much zero for my skin. I'm so sorry. And as I again say in my review video, I was very confused by that. And that's why I kept using them quite consistently, because I thought, it's got to be me if everyone else thinks they're so amazing. What am I missing? But I don't think I missed anything. They just did not work out for me. And I'm not sure why, because I had the same problem with the serum, by the way, the No. 5 serum, concentrated vitamin serum from the brand. When you look at the ingredients, they all look amazing and they all look like this has to be a fantastic brightening product. It's got LHA, PHA, glutathione, all sorts of brightening ingredients. But it just really did not do much. It also didn't really exfoliate skin. I think there are much better exfoliating toner pads out there. And I don't like the texture of the pads. This is a very specific me thing that might not be the problem for anyone else. But they're kind of spongy, kind of, they have a weird texture that I found very uncomfortable on my skin. I'm very particular about textures. One of the reasons why I always suspect I might be neurodivergent, because I can't have certain things on my skin. It just gives me the ick instantly. And the sponginess of it, it's supposed to be like a gel, I think, but it just felt kind of odd on the skin. These did not work for me. They didn't do anything terrible to my skin, but they just didn't do much at all. So I would not repurchase them. Love Numbuzin, so many products that I absolutely adore. This is not one of them. And onwards we go with another product that is kind of hit from a brand that is often hit and miss for me. And it's Beauty of Joseon. And it's this product, which I think was kind of controversial. I think there were a lot of up and down reviews about this. And also, I have not seen anyone really talk about this anymore ever since it launched, which is always a good indicator that those influencers that might have raved about it probably mostly did it because they were paid for it. There's nothing wrong, in my opinion, with paid sponsorships. Listen, if Beauty of Joseon, Numbuzin, Laneige, I don't know who else, The Ordinary, if they ever want to pay me to review their products, I'd be super happy to do it because I would still always be honest. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting paid for your work as an influencer. However, I do think it's a problem when they rave about a product and then never talk about it again, and obviously they never use it again, because then I have to suspect that maybe it wasn't actually that great. I do think you still have to be honest in your paid collaborations. It's just my opinion. So this is the Beauty of Joseon Ginseng Moist Sun Serum. There's also a full review video out on my channel if you want to watch it. I reviewed it mostly negatively, but I did say, and I still would say that today, that there are certain potential uses for this, especially as a reapplication sunscreen, because it is completely transparent and it does work very well as a reapplication sunscreen. However, overall, it just did not really impress me. Here's the thing. I don't think I have a grab for this. I think it's pretty much still almost full. I used it in order to review it, and after that, I just never felt the need to grab it again. I feel that I always have an insecure feeling when I use it. Because of the serum texture, it's almost impossible to use enough of it to give me a feeling of, yes, this is definitely full coverage SPF 50+, because it spreads like a serum, and a serum you always use very little. Like a pea size, basically. And you can't really build it up, because then it gets it pills kind of. It's not very well thought through, I find. The texture, I get what they were going for, because it's this idea that it's easier to use and it feels really pleasant because it has the serum texture. But I just think that, honestly, cream textures and moisturizer-like sunscreens are a better fit if you really want high coverage and want to be certain that you get the coverage. And this is also fragranced, which is such a strange choice for Beauty of Joseon. It's likely because they bought a formula or used a formula that already existed. It's apparently very similar to a sun serum from AHC that has been around for ages and ages. Some say even near identical. I haven't looked enough at the formula to say either way, but it certainly is made by the same manufacturer. And it seems to be that it uses the same base formula. And that one was fragranced. And it feels a little bit like maybe they just used the formula and didn't really want to adjust it too much. I don't know. It was strange. They kept promising that they would bring out an unfragranced version, but I haven't heard anything about it. And it's probably because overall this product wasn't very successful, is my assumption. I mean, I don't know. This is just an opinion. But yeah, this is fragranced and quite strongly fragranced. So the people who usually like Beauty of Joseon, which are more the fragrance-free, sensitive skin type people, will probably not gravitate towards that. The fragrance didn't bother me, but it did feel sometimes when I used this that it did kind of burn a little bit, especially around the eyes. Overall, I just feel it tried to be something new, but it didn't really succeed in that, because I don't think we need something new in that. We don't need a sun serum, I don't think. It's kind of just my overall final thought. I don't think this is needed. We have perfectly good moisturizer-like sunscreens, which make more sense because you use them at the end of a routine. I don't know. I just never grabbed for this. I honestly don't think it's a successful product overall. And onto another product that I feel I just don't really often grab. It is not a product that I would call a complete flop or anything like that, but in my review video of this product, I was kind of hesitant. I remember really struggling with what I should say about it. It just didn't really deliver. Again, as with the sun serum, I guess, and the pads, it didn't really deliver what was promised and what I think the fans of the previous version of this product were hoping for, because this is a reformulation, and I think it is a reformulation that was not a smart choice by the brand, and it's this one, which is the very famous, currently, I think they must have sent out review products, because suddenly I see this everywhere. This has been around for a while. This is not new. This is from last year or even the year before. But suddenly everyone's like, oh, this is the new fantastic milk toner. No, this is not really that new. But anyway, I tried it. This is the Laneige Cream Skin Cerapeptide Refiner. So this is the reformulation of the famous Laneige Cream Skin Refiner, the first one, almost first one of its kind. Actually, when I said it was the first one, someone pointed out that apparently SK2 had a very similar milk type toner that came first. So the first Korean brand maybe to make it, because SK2 is Japanese. When this came out in its previous formula, it was such a legendary cult, instant cult favorite, because nothing like that really existed, especially for dry skin. It was basically a moisturizer toner hybrid that was not just hydrating like most Korean toners, but also super moisturizing. It had a certain oil content that made it more nourishing compared to other hydrating regular Korean toners. And that was something new and just unique. And this new version just kind of stripped the toner of its uniqueness. When I use this, I haven't used the previous version. I always have to point that out. But from what I hear and from other skin cream refiners that I've tried, from Dr. Ceuracle, for instance, and Aromatica, they usually really feel moisturizing, and they have this nourishing quality to them that is very different from a regular toner. This to me feels like a regular toner. It's hydrating, but it doesn't have that oily slip, that nourishment, that moisturizing, deeply penetrating moisture content that made the original product so unique. They kind of stripped it off that to make it maybe a little bit more watery, a little bit lighter. But why did they do that? I just don't understand. The whole point was that it was a richer formula. So that I really don't understand. And then also the packaging, it leaks. And I've heard from other people, apparently they have the same problem. At first I thought maybe it's just my version. No, this apparently happens to a couple of people. So the packaging is nice as it looks. And I mean, it looks really cool with this big, I don't even want to open it because it usually starts spilling out. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, well, it's just not great. It looks great, but it's actually not that practical. So overall, this just didn't really deliver what I'd hoped for and what I know from other cream skin toners, and I just don't think it was a successful relaunch. It is a fine toner, it's okay as a hydrating toner, but the uniqueness factor is missing, and for that it just doesn't quite deserve the cult status anymore that the original formula had, in my opinion. Very sad, I think. And then I have two makeup products, and both of them are blushes. And let's start with this one. In its incredible packaging. Oh my God, this brand has the coolest packaging. Look at this. Look. Very cool, right? I'll put it like on half. Anyway, sorry. I just love playing with this packaging. It's very well thought out and very cool and unique. However, I did not like this product. Unfortunately. So this is the MUZIGAE Mention Blush. I actually forgot to look up the name, and it's not on here because it's only on here in Hangul. I still can't read Hangul, which is not great. This is shade number 2. Which is kind of a very light blushed pink. I don't know if you can see it on here because the light sometimes kind of washes out colors, because just like my audio, the lighting is very basic because I make like $10 a month from this channel. Not enough yet to do any big investments. So this brand is really popular in Korea. Of course, the packaging is just kind of, it was made for influencers, basically, to show. It's very photogenic and it's very clever. I saw these blushes being used by a couple of Korean influencers, so I thought, you know what, I really want to try them. They seem to be very popular. They looked really good in the swatches. I actually did an unboxing of these, an Olive Young unboxing where I showed this one. And it just, even then you could tell that it just didn't swatch great. It is very, very lightly pigmented, and it almost looks white. It almost looks more like a facial powder with a slight pink tint versus actually being a blush. Putting this on my cheeks, which I've tried, just kind of makes them look chalky. I don't know if it was the specific color, though looking at the other colors, I have a feeling most of them will have the same problem because they're all very light. The mix of the chalkiness and the very light pigmentation just makes it look like almost like an old-fashioned 1990s, very talcum-based face powder. Those were the face powders as a teenager that I had to deal with that just made me look like a chalky ghost. I do not really want that on my cheeks. I want something that is kind of, even when it's a matte blush, I do want it to be kind of a little bit, not dewy, but it needs to spread in a way that gives a nice flush to the skin. But this just kind of gives it a matte, ghostly canvas. That's not really good for a blush. So I'm very confused by this one. And it was quite pricey. I bought it for something around $30. This is not a cheap drugstore brand. This, because of the sort of fancy packaging, usually this is not cheap. So for the price, to me, a real flop product. Now the highlighter from the brand is really good. That one I can highly recommend. I have the pinkish highlighter and I use it all the time. It's beautiful. The texture of the product is also beautiful. But this blush, no, absolutely not. Really disappointed, especially because these are quite pricey. I mean, again, maybe the other shades are better, but I doubt it and would not recommend this. If you want a good Korean blush, go for the VDL blushes. Also Rom&nd makes good blushes, and WAKEMAKE also makes very good blushes. This doesn't deserve its popularity, in my opinion. And then lastly, another blush, as I said, and this is from a brand that I really love, so it broke my heart when this one didn't work. Again, these were quite hyped when they came out, which is how I noticed them, and I really wanted this one to work. It's just, I'm still sad about it. Also because this one was also quite expensive because I bought it when it launched on Olive Young Global, when it didn't have any sale on, from what I remember. So this was also like $30 or something. And it's this one from Glint. And it looks pretty, right? It's this pretty baked blush. These are the newish Glint baked blushes, and this is the color Pale Lilac, which I believe I also showed in an unboxing, so I'll link the unboxing video somewhere. And these, I love baked blushes. In general, I'm not always a fan of shiny, shimmery blushes, but I feel a well done baked blush can be so pretty on the cheeks. You can kind of use it as a mix of a highlighter and a blush. But I do think baked blushes really do need to be well pigmented because they do need to show up properly on the skin, I find. This one, very poorly pigmented, to the point that I can almost not see anything. Even if I just do this with my finger, if I try to swatch it, there's hardly anything there. It was so hard to swatch this when I did the unboxing. I already got a bad feeling then, but I thought, you know what? Okay, let's say it's not that highly pigmented. It is a little bit shimmery, so it could work maybe as a really pretty lilac highlighter. I wanted the lilac color. I was very excited about that. So that's not even the problem, because usually lilac shows up on my skin as a really light pink and it can look really pretty. But this, even when you try to use it as a highlighter, first off, as a blush, not pigmented enough, not even remotely. I mean, I'm super pale, so if I say something doesn't show up on my skin, I'm not super, super pale. I shouldn't overdo it. I'm probably the second palest usually in any makeup shade, so quite pale. Let's put it that way. Because it's always weird when white women go, oh my God, I'm so pale, I'm the palest. So I don't want to overstate my light skin, but I'm usually like the second to third, but usually the second shade in any sort of makeup range. So quite pale. So if something doesn't show up on me, you know it's really not pigmented, right? Korean blushes and also eyeshadows tend to be not as deeply pigmented as their Western counterparts, but you can find some beautifully pigmented products. So me complaining about the pigmentation is not me not understanding Korean makeup, right? I just wanted to make that clear. I've used Korean makeup for many, many years, but this really has hardly any pigmentation. Just none whatsoever. It's the lightest of light lilacs, which, yeah, is just, in my opinion, not really enough for most people of most skin tones, even if you're still in the beige light range, which is usually what Korean makeup caters to. And then, as I was starting to say, the other problem is that even as a shimmery product, there's not enough shimmer in it. It hardly shows off the shimmeriness that you think is there, because when you see it in the pan, you're like, ooh, this is really shiny and shimmery. And they're also kind of overstating it in their ads, I find. Once you apply it to your skin, no. Very, very little, neither shimmer nor glitter nor shine. It's just a very disappointing product, just a weak product to me overall, which is a shame because the Glint highlighters are some of the best you can find, not just in Korea, but I would say even compared to many Western brands. Glint highlighters, I would always recommend highly. One of my favorite things in the world. But these baked blushes, it might be the shade, because lilac shades can be a little bit tricky, I think, to work with. And maybe I was a bit too ambitious going straight for the lilac one. But I just don't think that the other blushes will be that much better. I don't know. I would certainly not risk paying another $30 to be disappointed again. So yeah. Didn't work for me, very sad. And since my neighbor is still renovating furiously and it's getting louder and louder, this is probably a good time to stop this video of me telling you about products that unfortunately did not work out for me, which is always a shame, especially if they are very hype products, because I really don't go into product reviews hoping for a negative review. I always am very open-minded to a new product. So all of these I really did want to love and unfortunately didn't. Let me know in the comments, please, how you got on with any of these products. If you had a different experience, especially with the blushes, maybe you tried the different shades that were better. Or, I don't know, the toner pads maybe worked fantastically well for you. Let me know, because I think it's always good to have differing opinions, especially if one is a more negative opinion, because just because something didn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for you. Yeah, please share in the comments. If you are new here, it would be fantastic if you could stick around, help me grow. It is not easy on YouTube, and I really do appreciate every single new subscriber that I get. So it would be lovely if you subscribed. I do a new video every week. If you could like the video, that also always helps. And otherwise, I see you again next week for a new video. And until then, please take care. Bye.